Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and yesterday I recorded a video, and despite not having really much to talk about, I decided to go ahead and record the video anyway. I sort of felt like I had waited too long to record anything and whatever. And then, of course, yesterday, like an hour after I recorded, some news broke about a trade within the division. And just this morning, I read some additional news about the Mets that I want to talk about today. The first piece of news. So wait, let me step back. So yesterday, I talked about rumors and editorializing and commentary and etc. And how none of it was based in fact. It was just conjecture and rumor and whatever. Well, that all changed yesterday afternoon. Like I said, about an hour after I recorded yesterday's video, it was announced that the Atlanta Braves made two free agent acquisitions. They signed former Braves catcher, Brian McCann, to a one-year, $2 million contract to return home to the Bravos. And then they made a much larger investment, a one-year, $23 million contract for third baseman Josh Donaldson. And the Braves they're obviously making some moves. They're making a splash. They're spending money. But I don't know that that's a really wise use of their money, to be completely honest, in my opinion. $23 million on Josh Donaldson is a lot of money to invest in a guy who last year, injuries notwithstanding, was not great. Donaldson did not have a good year last year. And I can tell you that if this was the Mets and they spent, first of all, we know that they would never spend $23 million on one player. I mean, come on, it's the Mets. But if it were, I'd be pissed. I mean, I would not be happy about spending that much money on one player. Now, perhaps it's because I'm conditioned as a Mets fan over the years to accept the fact that we don't spend money. That could very well be it. But I'm not a huge fan of this move as far as the money spent. Whether he'll be worth anything to the Braves remains to be seen. As far as the Mets go, they made some news overnight or this morning, and depending on when the story actually broke, I don't know exactly when it broke, but after a couple of weeks of suggestion and rumors, the Mets have announced that they have signed Jim Riggleman to be Mickey Callaway's new bench coach. The coaching shakeup was announced shortly after Brodie Van Wagenen took over as general manager, and I think this is a good hire. I do. The criticisms of Mickey Callaway's coaching staff last year were legitimate. No question about it. Look, he's a first-year manager. I didn't think about the fact that it would have been best to surround him with at least one person who has managerial experience at some level. And I didn't think about that. And really, the bench coach is the perfect position for that. And I'm not saying that Gary DiSarcina did a bad job last year. I don't know that he did a good job. I don't know that he did anything beyond just sitting there. He didn't make a big splash in either direction as far as I was concerned. But Jim Riggleman has the coaching experience to draw on his previous year. Last year, he was the interim manager of the Cincinnati Reds, and he actually turned that team around a little bit. They played much better under Riggleman than they did before under Brian Price. So, I think this is a good move for the Mets. I think it's good to have a more seasoned veteran mind in the dugout next to Mickey Callaway. Hopefully, there will not be another lineup gate incident in 2019, and hopefully Riggleman will be the kind of guy who can catch something like that and be a little bit more helpful with the in-game strategy end of managing a baseball game. So Riggleman in for the Mets, Donaldson, McCann in for the Braves. So far very lopsided as far as on-field product, but again, as I said yesterday, these are simply headlines right now. Brian McCann is an aging catcher. Josh Donaldson is coming off of a really down, injury-plagued year. We'll see what that means and what it translates to on the field. But my personal assessment of these moves for the Braves sort of make me scratch my head. And my personal assessment of this move for the Mets is like, okay, good job. This is a good fit. Glass half full, perhaps. Always optimistic, but like I said, that's me. So that'll wrap it up for today. If there is more news that breaks, I will be back to discuss. If not, I'll probably return by the end of the week to recap what's going on in Metsville, if anything at all. So until that time, whatever it may be, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.